Hello again, my name's Gabe Zona. I just read a rather interesting article, and it's from the guy behind the golden microphone, Rush Limbaugh. The title, I'm not arguing to keep it, but this is not really about the Confederate flag in South Carolina. You really have to read what the article has to say. The more I see things like this, the more I hear about comments like this, the more I believe that what happened because it was planned to happen. Now, if you look back through a little bit of history, and not that far back, the first attempt to go after our Second Amendment rights on a very large scale by this criminal, dysfunctional administration took place when Barack Hussein Obama gave $10 million to launch a program. That program is Fast and Furious, or was Fast and Furious. Now, people say, well, that's really not true. He had nothing to do with it. Well, absolutely, he had everything to do with it. And I've posted countless videos about exactly that. And I've attached links as to who said that Barack Hussein Obama provided the initial funding. Eric Holder's participation in opening up additional offices. The then head of the DHS, Janet Neapolitano, and her participation in Fast and Furious. David Ogden, that's O-D-G-E-N, March the 24th, 2009. Please Google it. David Ogden was the Assistant Attorney General, and you'll hear in his own words what he has to say about the Chosen One's participation, about Eric Holder's participation, about Janet Neapolitano's participation in Fast and Furious. That didn't have the effect that Obama wanted it to have, irrespective of the effort they exerted. Tens of thousands of Mexicans were slaughtered across the border. Border Agent Brian Terry was slaughtered in the Arizona desert because of guns being allowed to walk across the border. He was killed by an AK-47. I believe 2 of them were found by his body. Well, when that didn't work, along came Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook was proven to be, by those that are awake, a total fraud. It never really happened, but you'd not know it with the way the administration promoted it, including bringing families of those that supposedly lost their loved ones. There was a video that I posted where one of the parents, a male, didn't realize the cameras were rolling, and he was laughing. As soon as he realized the cameras were rolling, he went into his tearful mode, talking about the loss of his lovely child. Tears were rolling down his cheeks. I wonder if Onion helped to bring it about. That didn't work. Then you had a horrific shooting in Colorado. James Holmes. He slaughtered innocent people in a movie theater. When James Holmes was arrested, he looked like he was completely out of his mind. His hair was of a blazing red color. His eyes were rolling in his head. For the most part, he was incoherent. That didn't work. Then you had the shooting in Tucson, where Congressman Gabriel Gifford was severely wounded A federal judge was killed. A little 8-year-old child was killed. The perpetrator was captured. Gerald Loeffner. He too looked like he was clearly out of his mind, because he was clearly out of his mind. Irrespective of the media frenzy that took place, because a sitting congresswoman whose husband is an astronaut was seriously injured. The loss of a federal judge, the loss of an 8-year-old child, and a number of other victims fell at the hands of Gerald Loeffner, who also looked like he was completely out of his mind. That didn't work. Then you had a number of other skirmishes, like Aaron Lexus, the shooter at the Navy Yards. That didn't work. But you know what? The shooting in South Carolina by Dylan Roof, that appeared to have set certain wheels in motion. It hasn't taken away our Second Amendment rights, but what it has done and what it is doing, it's changing the southern part of the United States. It's changing how people looked at Southerners. Listen to what Rush Limbaugh has to say. What he has to say is exactly what I believe is happening and was designed to happen. And it's not going to just stop with the removal of the Confederate flag. A number of major chain stores, Walmart, Sears, Kmart, Amazon, have all discontinued selling any item that has any connection or any reflection with the Confederate battle flag. School books, I'm certain, will be destroyed that reference the flag. Businesses are being destroyed that have dealt in Confederate paraphernalia. The Dukes of Hazzard toy car are being discontinued. They've turned this into a frenzy. The South used to be known as a Republican bastion. That's going to change. And that's what this shooting in South Carolina, in Charleston, South Carolina, was all about. I've posted some other videos, and I said they're not just going to stop with the Confederate flag being removed from pretty much the face of the earth. If the Confederate flag has that kind of effect on a small part of the population, what do you think Old Glory has on a massive part of the population? The target all along has not been the Confederate flag. The Confederate flag is simply a catalyst, a stepping stone. I think Old Glory will be under attack within the next 2 or 3 months, if not sooner. I think the shooting, whether or not it took place, whether or not it was real, was planned. I don't know if those coffins are going to be filled with real people. What I do know is $29 million was sent to 9 families. That's a little over $3 million per family. Folks, read the article attached to this video. Go look for yourself. Do a little Googling. David Ogden, March the 24th, 2009. Do your own research about Sandy Hook, where the offices that transfer deeds in Sandy Hook was opened on December the 24th. The properties that had mortgages for those Sandy Hook residents who lost loved ones, their mortgages disappeared. Go Google the photographs of Jared Loughner and tell me that he doesn't look like he's clearly insane. Go Google the photographs of the Colorado shooter, James Holmes, and tell me he doesn't look like he's completely insane. Go Google the photographs of Dylan Roof and tell me he doesn't look like he's totally insane. All of these events, I believe, were designed by this criminal, dysfunctional administration to take away our Second Amendment rights. Obama knows as long as we have our weapons, he can't do what he wants to do. But as soon as we give up, by force, our Second Amendment rights, all hell will break loose. What's going on now with the fury that people are leaving the Confederate flag behind has probably given the American people a little breathing space, because their plan is working beyond even their expectations. When you've got governors in Virginia, and you've got governors in Alabama, and you're going to have a whole lot of other governors following suit to get rid of any semblance of the Confederate flag. This is going to make it a lot easier for people to accept Old Glory being removed for the exact same reason. What it symbolizes to people that have suffered under the flag. You know that famous picture that was taken at Iwo Jima? What was famous about it? Well, what was famous is Old Glory was put on top of a mountain. And below that mountain were the bodies of thousands of American soldiers that gave their lives to be able to have other Marines plant that flag. It was once a proud symbolism of America. It's now targeted by this criminal, dysfunctional administration that'll stop at nothing, including, I believe, murder. You know, you've heard me say quite often, the pieces of the puzzle fit. Tell me where they don't fit. Tell me where I've said anything in this video that you believe was not real. You can't. Can you?